on my Twitter, so I will definitely do that since apparently people are interested.
Very cool.
All
I'm
righty.
going to
So, Danny,
make a
are you here?
presenter. I'm making a presenter right now.
Oh, winning. Well, there you go. That's what I was getting ready to do. But rock on, man.
It's coming.
Got me. Beat me.
Well, we can hang out
Hey,
together. That's
boys.
good.
Hey.
How goes it?
What up? How's everything?
It's weird to see you presenting in less than a 24-hour marathon. So.
Right? This is like 40 minutes. This is like me waking up in the morning.
Exactly.
No, man. Like, thanks for, and I can't say how comforting it is to hear the first two voices I hear be John Strand and Jake Williams.
Hey, no joke.
Yeah, this is a good thing.
Hey, no joke. Just to kind of kick this off a little bit. I cannot tell you how excited I was, like, after, doing the moderation here, to see that I was moderating your talk. And for those that don't know Danny, oh my gosh, this is, I have no question, it's gonna be a powerhouse of a talk. And Danny is a close personal friend, outstanding dude. And if you don't know him, you're missing out. Next time we're all together at a con, hopefully coronavirus free, give him a big bear hug, because he is seriously he's become a absolute pillar of the community. So, well,
and you can definitely rate that. Like, Jake, a lot of times people are like, this guy does a lot for the community, or this lady does a lot for the community, and they give talks, and that's great. But really, for me, one of the bellwethers is, what do they give up in their free time? And Danny, with the 24-hour marathon, the Who Slide Is It Anyway, which we will refuse to hold against him in this particular situation. There's just a tremendous amount of things that he doesn't have to do. It's not part of his job, and he's out there doing it anyway, and that's just amazing.
Oh yeah, Hacker Game Show at ShmooCon was another big one with Lentile. I cannot say enough good things about this dude. So
you guys are gonna make me cry. Stop it.
Oh, that's our goal. That's what we do.
And you're completely overselling my talk. I wrote this last. But cool.
Those
like,
are the best talk.
Yeah, it's kind of slide barren. I'm just gonna be really riffing. I don't have anything written, so I'm gonna talk about the two things that I know the best right now. And let me know. Want me to start now?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's kick this thing off. We're recording.
Right.
Let's do it. I think everyone's cool with us about that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
Indeed, it's full screen. You're set.
Yeah. All right.
Let's rock this.
Well, welcome to the party, pals. My name is Danny Akotski. You guys can follow me at Akotski on Twitter. After the amazingly overblown intro, I don't know if I can live up to that, but I'm sure gonna try. So yeah, I decided I saw the abstract come up, or the call for papers come up for PancakesCon, and holy shit, getting this ready in 3 days is just a monumental thing. So I literally wrote the abstract for this talk and got the idea while I was in the kitchen, and I wrote the abstract and submitted before my mac and cheese was done. That is a true story. Hunched over, trying to type on my phone while my cat's butt is like going back and forth in front of me. So hopefully it's something interesting for any threat hunters in the chat, people that are watching. If you are the David Biancos of the world, if you're the Paul Melsons of the world, this stuff is going to seem really rudimentary. But for those who have no idea about it, I really geared the first half of this talk for people that might be looking to get into the industry, and you have so many different options. You have you might just want to break stuff and be the bad guy and be a filthy red teamer like John Strand or Jake Williams. Then you'll want to do red team and study those kinds of things. But some of us, like, I fell into threat hunting by complete accident. I started working at Mandiant and just it must have been like karmic lottery that the first person that I ever worked for was David Bianco, who is, if you haven't followed him, if you are interested in threat hunting, he is the guy. Like, he's the dude. He's who you want to follow. And I'll show a couple of his slide decks, which I now owe him residual money for, but that's all right. So, and then that's just kind of, I fell into that whole defensive end of the business and just stayed in. At a certain point, I was like, maybe I want to try something new, but really this is what I'm good at. And this is what I've done for the past 8 years. So I figured I would give those of you who are at kind of that crossroads or that entry point into your careers an idea of like, do I really want to do this? Like, what's involved in it? How do I do this on my own, right? A big portion of this first 20 minutes is how do I do this on my own at home? Especially because all of us are on lockdown now, not going into offices. Maybe you're in the middle of looking for a job and you're like, well, shit, now what do I do? How do I practice this? What kinds of concepts do I need? I have the general overview as much as I can cover in 20 minutes. After that, once you get good, right? Or even, not even after you get good, even after you are just hunting and pecking and guessing and cursing, maybe you want to tell other people about it. I am a huge proponent of writing blogs, making content. John mentioned my 24-hour streams, which is basically the Twitch equivalent of a stunt hack, of being up forever and doing. It started out as 24 hours of Hack the Box, and I know nothing. Like, so I'm a blue teamer, so let me mess with this. Once you learn all of these things, how do you share it, right? And I think now more than ever, it's drastically increased the need for communication, especially video communication. People learn differently. People might like to just read things, or they need a face, preferably not my face, but maybe somebody better looking, like Leslie, to teach them things. So Twitch streaming has been exponentially valuable for me and to the people who I want to relay that information to. But anyway, again, this is what happens when I don't write anything for my talk. I just pontificate. So we're going to do a little bit of intro to threat hunting and streaming on twitch.tv. So let's get started on the hunt portion. Literally threw these things together last night. So I threw this with a random Microsoft template. I want anybody who's watching this, Mad Lib what this timeline might be about, at me on Twitter, at Diakotsky, with your best caption, and the winning caption gets a free year of Hack the Box VIP from me, just because I thought that would be fun. So what do you think this timeline is actually showing? I'll leave that up for a couple seconds. At Diakotsky, impress me, and you'll get to you'll get to break stuff on Hack the Box for a whole year on me. So what is threat hunting, right? Everybody asks that question. It was the marketing du jour for such a long time. It was in every vendor email that you got, and everybody has a different definition, right? Everybody's going to give you their different opinion of what threat hunting is, and they're going to say it over and over and over again. And I hear it, and I don't care. There's so many different definitions. Like, everybody is like, some people lean heavily towards it just means host, right? You're only hunting on the endpoint, and that's all that matters. Network doesn't matter. It's amazing still in this day and age how many people kind of shove aside the whole networking end of things. Or they have, hunting is just bug hunting. It's just, doing stuff for HackerOne. It's everybody's got a different definition, and it's such a pain in the ass conversation to have, because a lot of smart people are having it, and they all have different ways of describing it. I describe it very, very simply. And funny enough, I run a Slack room, and I have a bot. And a bot, every time somebody asks somebody to define threat hunting, it just says GTFO. So that's how much we hate this question. I will boil it down very, very simply, right? Finding ways for evil to do evil things. But even that doesn't do it justice, because that will say that you're always going to find evil when you're hunting for threats. And that's not always the case, right? Sometimes it's just going to be, hold on, I have my timer on my other laptop, and now open up, God damn it. It's not always going to be evil, right? You're not always hunting for, looking for that big red flag waving, right? You're not always going to find evil. There are so many other benefits to this. It's getting to know your network, right? It's getting to figure out stuff that's there that you've never even seen before. I did a lot of gigs when I was a consultant at Mandiant, of people finding out like developer workstations that were live on the internet that some dev just spun up because, you know, we all know developers are always super into security and consider that before they stick a machine on the internet. And this is one of those byproducts, right? You can really get to know your network. You can really get to, because you don't know what you're defending if you don't know what's out there. And you don't know what's important if you don't know what's out there. We talk in the threat hunting space a lot about finding those crown jewels, right? Finding those things that are really important to you. So, man, I have talked a lot already. Really boils down to the Holy Trinity of what to do with threat hunting, right? You need your data, right? You need the stuff coming in, you need somewhere to put it, and you need some way to look at it, right? Those are as basic as I can put that down. Those are your three absolute requirements, right? You need something to look at it. You need some kind of storage, whether that be something like a Hadoop cluster or just getting logs forwarded into Splunk, and then they all sit there, and then some way to look at, some way to analyze it, and just figure out what's going on. But why? Like, why would we do all that, right? What is the actual point of all that? To talk about that, we have to talk about what do you even look for, right? I mentioned I owe David Bianco residuals every time I use these. You'll see in the upper left the threat hunting loop created by David when he was at Squirrel, and his always timeless pyramid of pain, right? These will kind of get your brain working of why you do these kinds of things. And even for me, I've been doing this for, man, like I said, about 8 years now, security proper, and I can still sit down in front of my console and say, well, and we'll get a new client, and I'll be like, all right, well, now what? I still do that. I still do that after 8 years because every data set is going to be different. So you can't rely on just knowing, or you can't rely on just, this is super important, and I don't want to understate this for anybody, because the point of this first half of this conversation is to drive the point home for people that are just getting into this, right? No matter how far you go in this, and I just realized this in like the past year, because I always beat myself up for not knowing every little thing and not knowing every little eventuality and knowing every threat and iteration of this, that, and the other thing. It's not about knowing that stuff. It's about asking questions. That's the big dirty secret. If you can ask a question, one question leads to another and to another. It's like going on it's like being on YouTube, right? We're all home now. We're all freaked out and we're all finding stuff to do. And you go down those like YouTube holes or those Wikipedia holes. We've all done that. Hunting is the same thing. It is asking one question. And that usually starts with like, what data do I have? And then you look at it and you say, oh, I have some HTTP logs coming in, or I have DNS logs coming in. Cool. Let me just look at it and just ask questions. One of the things that I love to do when I write a lot. I luckily I get to give a lot of talks and do a lot of blogs and things like that. And when I am stuck, absolutely stuck, happens more often than you think, of trying to figure out what to write. Like I just do stream of consciousness, and it is literally me typing in Sublime Text. I have no effing idea what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to write about this. What even matters about this thing? Well, it's literally a conversation with myself. Well, this thing might matter, and this thing might be cool. And before I know it, just typing out that stream of ranting, like rantings of a post-burnout psycho, which is literally the banner on my blog site. And then eventually I start getting somewhere, and I start thinking, and then I start pivoting, and I start going back into my tool. So it all starts with asking those questions, right? So threat hunting loop, and we'll just kind of, it really boils all that down into create a hypothesis, use some tools, uncover patterns, right? This is what this is all about. And I got to move along really quick. So how do you do that, right? How do you do that from home? How do you learn this stuff? Elk, Elk Stash, this is just one of many things, right? People will say, I like this thing and I like this thing. This is for those just getting into this, right? Go look up Elk Stash. It has everything. It has where to get, you have to supply your own data, right? And I'll get to that in a second. But somewhere to put it, Log Stash, right? Some way to look at it, Kibana, and some way to manipulate it, Elasticsearch. Elk is a talk in and of itself, 100 talks in and of itself. But I can give you one piece of advice. Here's somewhere to start, right? Be on your own network. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. First, let me get to one of the very specific versions of Elk, which is Helk. If you, as much as I told you to follow David Bianco, follow Cyber War Dog. This dude is insanely smart. He created Helk, and not a lot of people know about it. If you're in the industry, you've known about this for a while, but if you haven't played with it, go do it. It has everything where you can put everything into Logstash, search it in Kibana, get stuff out of like a Hadoop cluster, and it has access to Jupyter Notebook. Like, that's awesome. Jupyter Notebook, for anybody who codes, knows what that is. It's just somewhere to put notes, and it's great for coding in Python and things like that. So that is Elk and Helk are awesome ways to get started with this. I'm gonna have to skip this demo, even though I really, really loved that. I love that graphic. But if anybody actually wants a demo some other time, just hit me up. I was going to show a little bit of what we do at work, but suffice it to say, ending this first 15-20 minutes of this, cool. I threw a bunch at you just now, mostly about how to think about getting this started. But now you need your own little infrastructure to do this, right? Like, if you're at home and you're just getting started. So what do you do now? One of my very dearest friends, Tony Robinson, he's at DA667 on Twitter, wrote this phenomenal book. It is also phenomenally huge. So if you need to like even out the corner of your house because it's tilting, this book will do it. But get two of them. He wrote a very, very good book called Building Virtual Machine Labs. This literally gives you every single thing you need to create a virtual lab environment, because it's super easy now when you have things like VMware and being able to, and then you create it in AWS for all I care. Wherever you can create it, this is really going to help you do that. So to wrap up that part of this talk, man, I can't believe how quickly 20 minutes went. If blue teaming tactics, threat hunting tactics, all start with asking questions of your data. And the better that you know that data, the more higher fidelity questions you will ask. And then you're going to be like, well, I can't see this thing. How do I see this? That is a genius question that enterprises still ask themselves when they start doing these kinds of low-level basic techniques of, well, shit, I can't see that. How do I see that? All right, now I know this person owns that data, and now you go into the super weeds of, now I need buy-in from who owns that data, and now we need some infrastructure to get that data into a centralized thing. See, I asked one question, and I'm already like 7 layers deep. So TLDR is get a book like Tony's, look at the labs, and I swear, I didn't write it up yet, but anybody who has questions about how to do this, I can rattle off 100 different resources for you. So I just want you to get the concept in your heads of blue teaming and hunting and being on defense. It's all about asking questions. We can all ask questions. Don't worry about knowing everything. All right, so now you can hunt. You're all experts, right? So now, what do you do with that information? Just like in that hunting loop, you have to, it is an iterative process. You ask those questions, you find those things out. Well, now what do? You teach it to somebody else. And you don't even have to be an expert on it to know it. We love to see success stories, right? We all love to see people getting it done and at high levels. What I like the most is fail stories. I love when people come out and say, here is how I royally screwed this up, right? Or here is how I am struggling. The easiest and yet the hardest thing for us to say is, I don't know, right? Especially because we are all surrounded by seriously smart people, right? And a lot of times, one of the things I love saying the most is, we only see other people's highlights, right? We see people's highlight reels. We don't see the messy ways that we got there. So how do we do that? We communicate it and we intro. This will be an intro to streaming on Twitch, right? To communicate now, more important than ever. So actually, before I do this, I'm just going to load up my OBS and I'm going to show you exactly what I am talking about. John, Jake, how we doing, man? I'm good?
Yeah, I can see you.
All right, cool.
Hey, just time check wise, looks like you've got about a little under 15 minutes left.
All right, it's kind of what I was thinking about. All right, so live streaming on Twitch. Let me actually, I'm going to do this side by side. Can get rid of this. And all right. So there are a lot of ways to live stream out there, right? And actually, I will put a link somewhere. I got to find it really quick. There is an incredible series on OBS, a video series, and I'll shoot the link after this. I don't want to waste time finding it, but it's a video series on OBS, and it gets you started from the very beginning to the very advanced stages. It's like at least 30 videos, I think. So you need software and you need hardware, right? The software, I highly recommend if you have a Windows machine to get Streamlabs OBS. OBS is, I guess, in theory, a little bit like Linux. There's a couple different flavors. OBS has their version, which runs on Mac, and it's good. It works. I ran OBS on Mac for a very long time. OBS stands for Open Broadcasting System. But it's kind of buggy. Sometimes it crashes and sucks a little bit. So if you can get Windows, I highly recommend Streamlabs OBS because it integrates directly with Streamlabs, which is where you get widgets and stuff, and that's a more detailed talk. A Twitch account, so go to twitch.tv. While it's mainly created for gamers and things like that, I have found it incredibly fun, incredibly useful because of its chat function mostly. And to just go live, and all you need to do in Streamlabs OBS is you have a streaming key that you get from your Twitch account. You put the key in OBS, and I literally just hit go live, and this will come up. Here, I'll actually put my main screen on. And if you're gonna have a panel, like John and Jake know, I like to do a lot of panel things. I use Zoom, and it's never failed me yet. I actually have the Pro Zoom account that lets you have like up to 150 people and stream unlimited for unlimited time, or have a meeting for unlimited time. If you have the basic free tier, you can do, I think, up to simultaneously 3 people for 40 minutes at a time. But even the Pro Zoom account, it's like $10 a month, right? It's really not that bad. So I'll take you a little bit through OBS really quick. OBS is great.
Is there a chance you can zoom in like with a magnifier tool?
I don't know. Where's the magnifier tool?
Okay, well, never mind. I'll just rock on. We can zoom in the video. You're rock on. Cool deal. Thanks.
What for the text or for the OBS?
Just in general, it's a little bit. You've got a super like widescreen there, so it's kind of small.
Oh yeah, yeah.
People asking about it. That's all. Oh, good.
All right. No, don't worry. So OBS, I'll just expand this for a minute. OBS it works on sources, right? So I have a main scene. This is like a really basic one that I have. My webcam's supposed to be in here, but it's being used right now. This all seems very like, oh my God, there's so much crap here. It's really not that bad. You function on different scenes. Like I have a loading scene, I have a closing scene, and you can make all these different scenes. And then they are comprised of sources. So I have a border source, which gets highlighted right here. I have a camera source, which would be somewhere in here, somewhere. And then you can have different text sources. So these function on these graphics are what's called Twitch Twitch overlays, and you can, if you subscribe to Streamlabs, which is like $10, I don't get money from them, so it's just, I'm just telling you information. They give you like free overlays that you can import into OBS, and you can have a really good looking thing really quickly just by getting some overlays. And then over here you have like your mic levels and your desktop audio. So this is what it looks like on the back end, right? When you see me stream on Twitch, I'm messing with all of this stuff right here. So I don't want to get too far in. So that's what OBS looks like. It looks a little daunting at first, but I will absolutely share that link for those instructional videos. Now, let's get to hardware, right? I put this loadout together for what I have, right? For what you see, like you can see I have a green screen behind me. Let me turn my camera, like you might be blinded, but I have a 3-point lighting system. Right over here, my monitoring laptop is over there. I have my mixer over here, and my mic over here.
Store this in the background.
So that just looks like that's what it looks like in the background, right? That's all the stuff that I have. Somebody chatting right now. So as far as hardware goes, this is what I have, but bare minimum. You need a headphone and a mic and a camera, right? That's really all you need to do this. And all of those sources go into OBS. But if you're curious about what I'm using currently, you could take a picture of this, take a screenshot, whatever. So I have a nice Rode mic, very fancy, like $200 or something like that. I have a Logitech C99 or C922 webcam. It's important when you get a webcam that you make sure it has the mounting bracket underneath, because you can get, I have it somewhere over here. Mine's currently sitting on like a tripod, a little portable tripod, which is awesome. You could take it anywhere you want. You can take a camera anywhere you want. I have a main mixer because I do some other DJing and things like that. But if you got something like, you can get a Blue Yeti microphone, right, for like $120. Like I think they're still super affordable as long as there wasn't like a run on them or something. And that's a USB, and the USB goes directly into your computer and it registers in OBS, and that's all you need. That's all you need to get up and running. And by the way, OBS is free. You don't have to pay a dime for it. Both the Mac and the Windows versions are free. You can subscribe to Streamlabs to get things like widgets and overlays and make everything look all pretty. But at your basic thing, you need OBS. There are other ones out there, but this is pretty much the standard. And headphones, a camera, and a mic. The thing about Twitch is that Twitch was always meant to be like a very quick bang solution, right? It's instant, it goes up, and then those videos come down after a while because it makes room for other things. If you make highlights of your videos, they stay up. So I have long-term storage. Every video I have, I record. You can record locally in OBS. If you just want to make instructional videos, OBS is amazing because you can just record it locally and then cut it up in something like, some people use Adobe Studio. I use something called Camtasia, which is like $100 for a license. But you can also get like Adobe Studio for a subscription of $20 a month or something like that. So I put all my long-term ones up on Vimeo. I'm kind of pissy with YouTube right now because they've been taking down hacking themed videos, even instructional things. I don't know if they're still being dicks about that, but so mine's more of like my own little ethical conundrum of where to put it. So I put it up on Vimeo because they've never been accused of that. YouTube straight up does it. So just something to be aware of. A green screen, not required, but man, is it fun. I have one behind me. This one, check this out. It goes down into its own little carrying case thing. That thing is awesome. It was like $100. You saw the 3-point lighting. This is if you really want to get crazy and like have it look really awesome, or you just put a lot of lamps in your office. There's something called the Elgato Stream Deck. Let me see if I can get it off this thing. This is the Elgato Stream Deck. This is like a little macro. They're all macro buttons, and you can get super fancy with this. This thing wasn't even that bad. This was like 50, 60 bucks, something like that. So now we're getting into like all the shit Danny has. A mic arm is always awesome. These are not that expensive. Mic stand and just some headphones. Like these are when I used to work in radio. I used to have these. I've had these for 15 years by now, 20 years. So that's the loadout. That's how you get into that. Hey, Jake, John, how much time do I have? Probably a couple minutes.
Yeah, you're looking at maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and then we got to change presenters here.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so man, that went by fast. So little thing on threat hunting, blue teams, little thing on Twitch. Any quick questions I can answer? Again, I am super accessible on Twitter. I'm on that all the time. So find me on there, and I will answer every single question anybody has.
Yeah, no, I've got so many questions here around like equipment setups and the whole. I'm gonna throw like the whole. There's a couple like, how do I do this on Linux? And the answer is do it on a PC. There's another one that says, how do I do this on a Mac? And of course the answer is do it on a PC. There's a lot of these. I'll just second what Danny said. All that. Go ahead, John.
Yep, and I can take it on the PC side, or on the Mac side. I use Final Cut Pro for bringing videos together, and we use the platform GoToWebinar, and it works really, really, really well. But as we start moving into other things, it's looking like the PC is where it's at. Jason, we just ordered him a PC to do this stuff too.
Yeah, so I know for Linux, somebody that I do some streams with, my buddy Oddjob, who runs Circle City Con, he does Linux, and he fights with it a lot. Sometimes we haven't been able to do it, so you can do it on Linux. So I just don't know the complete steps for it, but Oddjob does, and I can always pick his brain on it. But PC, dude, honestly, Windows 10, it's awesome. Like mine is a Lenovo Yoga with 12 gigs of RAM, 300 gig SSD, and the thing screams, and it's just so lovely.
Oh, that's a big point. SSD is your friend.
SSD is, and it's cheap now.
Yes,
SSD is nowhere near what it used to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, we're running up on time here.